Good morning, y'all. Today I'm here to talk about the women's suffrage movement in the 1930s. A significant event in the women's fight for equality was ratification of the 19th Amendment on August 26, 1920, giving women the right to vote. Quote, "It took activists and reformers nearly 100 years to win that right, and the campaign was not easy. Disagreements over strategy threatened to cripple the movement more than once, but on August 26, 1920, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was finally ratified, enfranchising all American women and declaring for the first time that they, like men, deserve all the rights and responsibilities of citizenship. Though a monumental moment in history, it did not help raise the women's status in society, as they were still suffering from discrimination and gender inequality throughout the 1930s. The 1930s brought apple sellers to city street corners and breadlines to urban charity houses. In a depressed economy, unemployment figures escalated and federal forces concentrated on bringing Americans back to work, or, more accurately, bringing American men back to work. For society viewed working women as un-American money grubbers, stealing jobs from men who needed them to support their families. Women in the 1930s, in fact, entered the workforce at a rate twice that of men, primarily because employers were willing to hire them at reduced wages. In unionized industries, however, women fared better. Women constituted 7% of all workers in the automobile industry and 25% of all workers in the electrical industry. The Integrated International Ladies Garment Workers Union had 200,000 members and secured for pressers in Harlem high wages of $45 to $50 per week. Women were always suppressed by the society. The government established policies that allowed only one family member to work, and men, being seen as the head of the family, were the ones who kept their jobs. Many tried to guilt-trip women into being a housewife, frowned upon working women because they were supposed to be taking care of children and doing household chores. The leaders in this fight for equality were Elizabeth Cady Stanton was National American Woman Suffrage Association's first president. Stanton, along with Susan B. Anthony, established the Women's New York State Temperance Society and the New York State Women's Rights Committee. Alma Lutz argued that women had proven themselves capable, competent workers, and should therefore enjoy legislation ensuring equal pay for equal work, instead of laws that placed them in special classes. Hattie Caraway of Arkansas became the first woman senator popularly elected to her seat and won re-election in 1938. But slowly things changed as the Depression forced many single and married women to work to support their families. The U.S. Depression in the 1930s and the U.S. entry into World War II shifted the focus for some to nationalism. American women were encouraged to join the war effort by taking jobs in factories and offices in need of their labor. New ideas about what especially married women could and should do began to emerge, particularly when women were again encouraged after the war to do their duty by returning to their homes, where they could serve their husbands and repopulate the ranks. Moreover, the U.S. Civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s provided a model for rights movements at that time, and also served as a real-life training ground for many women. Ultimately, it was the release in 1953 of The Second Sex, Simone de Beauvoir's historical analysis of women's second-class status, which forced the issue into the public arena.